Hi, it's the 5th of December 2018 at 3 p.m. I'm not so sure whether this is a mgtow subject or not. In one way it is, and in another way it's not. Anyway, I'll go ahead with it anyway. I'd have to say, at 62 years old, I've finally found happiness in the most unusual way. Absolute. I wake up feeling brilliant every day. I feel great every day. Despite everything that's happening, I don't see my kids, living here alone, no money, all that sort of thing, I feel wonderful. It doesn't seem right, but that's still the case. And I tried everything to feel like this. I tried booze, I tried cigarettes, I tried food, and I even tried women. I tried to get women to make me happy. None of it worked. My entire life, none of it worked. And what happened was on the 11th of November, or around that time, I got a massive depression. And I was doing videos every other day religiously. And then suddenly I was hit. I had no energy to do anything. I could get out of bed and that was about it. And I just sat here with a silly smile on my face thinking, yeah, I feel okay, but I can't do anything. I can't even get the mental energy together to think what to do with a video. And one thing led to another, and I was having really vivid dreams. Really vivid, so vivid you could almost touch them. And I'd had this my whole life. It's an affliction I've suffered my whole life. And I've often spoken to doctors about it, and they just sort of looked at me blankly, and I've spoken to a lot of people about it. Nobody had any idea about it. So I thought I'll just go on Google and find out what it is. And about 2 minutes later, I discovered this thing called summer sad. It's a seasonal affective disorder. Yeah, it's associated with winter time, with coming of winter and less light and less melatonin production and what have you. But in this case, they call it summer sad. And now what they're trying to say is no, it's an underlying mental illness that's triggered by sunlight and what have you. I disagree with them strongly. I'm not a doctor or no expert. I've done no research in this, but to me, that's a little bit like saying, he had a bad heart condition which was triggered when somebody shoved a knife in his chest. I think the problem may well be the sunlight itself. End of story. That's it. Cut the sunlight out, block that out, and the problem goes away, which is exactly what happened with me. It started off with I just blocked out the curtains. I put up extra drapes and what have you, and I found I was sleeping better and I wasn't getting such awful vivid dreams in the morning. Every morning I was having the same recurring dream about separating from my family. So, yeah, which was exhausting and depressing and saddening and the whole thing. And it was just getting me down. But when I blocked out the sun, I didn't have those dreams anymore. The dreams went. And so I thought, oh, wow, I'm going to take this a step further. And I bought some sunglasses, clip-on sunglasses online. I thought I'll give these a try. Whoa, and then it really started changing. I wear these things morning, night, day, night, outside, inside, everywhere. I don't take them off. I do at the mall or something, paying a little deference to mores, but for the most part I keep them on. My life has just changed, turned on a penny. Honestly, I no longer get sad thoughts. I feel them trying to get in, right? But then they just get suppressed. It's almost like I'm on some sort of antidepressant. Not that I am or have ever been. Well, anger is the same way. I feel it trying to happen, but nah, and it just gets suppressed as well. And negative thoughts, putting yourself down, that sort of thing, yep, same thing. Right? Full of confidence. Absolutely, confidence is running at 100%. Couldn't be better. Never been better in life. It's just, it doesn't let me get sustainable. And so I got to thinking about this, and I wondered whether it was summer sad, and I kept researching it, and researching it and researching it, okay, online on Google. And it came up with this thing called sensory overload. I thought, that makes sense. Because if I just put these on, it just takes the edge off everything. And I don't know, I can sit here and look at a screen and work on, on graphics and what have you, and get right in there and stay there for 10, 20 minutes working on them. It's probably too long. It used to be I could last for a minute before I was scratching my head. My wife could never understand because she said, it's really pleasant work. And I could never understand what she's talking about because it wasn't pleasant for me. It was like, don't look at the screen for too long, it'll drive you mad. And she's like, huh? And I found out exactly what she meant. Yeah, it's quite pleasant, really pleasant. It's lovely getting in there, in fact. I know exactly what she means now. But it's this sensory overload. And there's a couple of things that make me think about that there might be something to it. Firstly, guys on the channel, I'm surprised how many guys say have got some sort of issue with light. That they keep their bedroom really dark, or they work at night and sleep during the day, during daylight hours. Or there's a crowd that can't stand artificial light. They have to put some sort of cloth over their lighting, or they have to sleep with an eye mask. I've spoken to lots of guys about it, and it's really starting to. I think there's something to it. And I look back and I think, where did all of this obesity and depression come from? Let's admit it. Let's face it. It's two big things in this world are obesity and depression. They just weren't there in the 60s. The thing that happened in the 60s was the advent of the television. And people, spent more and more time staring at it. The sunlight didn't change in intensity or anything, but there was just more and more TV, more channels, and colour television came in, so people watched even more of it. And then it really accelerated when computers came in. And obesity went through the roof. And you think, well, why? It was just light. Well, the thing is, particularly with computers, and particularly with earlier computers, they weren't that good. Things were always not working and breaking down and whatever. So guys that were real binge computer users going, why? Well, they're getting angry all the time. What's wrong with it now? Now, let's just talk about that for a moment. I noticed this yesterday. Yesterday, I wanted to pick up a coffee machine, but I wouldn't go on my bike, so I had to walk into town, walk back again, okay, with a coffee machine. That's a round trip, 12 kilometres on a hot day. At my age, you think, yeah, that'll do for one day. No. I went another 8 kilometre round trip to the hardware store, and I carried this thing home in my hand, a piece of particle board to make some shelving for the coffee machine. You think, well, that'll do for a 62-year-old. That's enough. Nah. I went a step further, and I actually put the shelving together last night. On top of all that work, it was exhausting. There's no doubt about it. I'm not kidding you. I've got the energy of a 14-year-old in the body of a 62-year-old. That's what's happening. And I got to thinking about it, as I was walking. I had a fair bit of time. I'm not that quick a walker. And I thought, I think the way to look at me, I don't know about anybody else, but me, is I've got mental energy and I've got physical energy. And I think what's been happening is when I haven't been wearing sunglasses, I've been getting sensory overload through my eyes. It's been stimulated. The light's overstimulating my brain, making it think too much. Which explains why I talk a lot, why I write a lot. Okay, but it's exhausting for it. So my brain's been saying, I need more energy. My solution has been, give it sugary, starchy food. The brain, the mental energy has been, oh, thanks for the sugar. The body has been getting all the starch and thinking, what the hell am I going to, I don't need this. What am I going to do with it? So it's had to, store it, stack it here, I suppose, for that day that we're ever going to need it. Just pack it in there, anywhere. And I thought, well, that makes sense, because I almost feel it. And I was sort of monitoring myself. I knew it was a very high stress day. Look, 5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I couldn't have done anything like it. I probably couldn't have done it when I was 30, in all honesty. But I was really consciously monitoring my actions. Was there any anger? You know, and this was hard work, okay? A little anger, not a lot, but when I was facing directly into the sun, yeah, these things just couldn't compare. And then I'd get in the shade or I'd sit down or something and it was fine, okay? But I was aware of it. I could regulate it. You know, and I'd say, no, hang on, we'll just get to the shade and stop. And it was sort of like, so I could work with my mind for the first time ever. I didn't sort of push through the pain barrier and then come home and stuff myself full of food. And in all honesty, my food intake has just shrunk like you wouldn't believe. You know, normally what I used to have was a bowl of noodles for breakfast. Then I'd have, a bowl of spaghetti for lunch, and then maybe have another bowl of noodles mid-afternoon, bowl of rice for dinner, and then later on the evening I might, before I went to bed, have another bowl of noodles. Yesterday, with all that work, with all that walking, all that exercise, and it was heavy, that's the thing, I had one bowl of noodles in the morning and a bowl of spaghetti. That was it, no more. That was, it's just, and that I think is from regulating. And now I'm getting so in control of it that I think I'll move to 2 meals a day, and that'll be fine for me. And I speak to other guys, I have 2 meals a day. And I'd agree with them, yeah, that's about what I'd need. If I was to spend time outside, a lot of time outside, or had the drapes open, yeah, that would increase dramatically. Very dramatically. I've got no doubt about that. But I don't know how to. I know I'm talking to people from some of you. Most of you guys are from the other end of the spectrum. Like, I've got a Romanian friend, and she was telling me, no energy, I'm feeling down, exhausted, and the whole thing. I said, well, look, you're probably the opposite of me. You're not getting enough light. Maybe you need yellow glasses. Like, I'm going to buy. I've got a pair on order. I want to test them out. I think they'll be exactly the wrong thing for me. I think they'll just work. Hopefully, anyway, they'll be exactly what I don't need. Okay, just make me angry, which is good, because then I'll have at least it's an experiment for me. It's sort of a bit of research. But I said, or you could get a SAD lamp. A seasonal affective disorder lamp, to synthesise sunlight. Maybe you need melatonin tablets, but the whole point I'm trying to make is, maybe we should really think more about our light environment, and not so much about what we're eating. Because, what's happened with me is that once I've got my lighting right, and nobody would agree that it's right to wear sunglasses inside out, daytime, nighttime. But once I've done that, now that I've done that, everything's falling into place. I've got my energy back, no sad thoughts, no anger. And my diet is, I'd reckon bang on. Yeah, it could be fine-tuned a little bit, but I could do that now. I couldn't even consider it before. I couldn't afford to eat a high-quality diet because I needed so much food for the sugar, for the brain. And look, if you're the perfect weight and you're wasting time listening to this video, but if you're having sad thoughts, if you're depressed or you're feeling down, I really do believe it's something. If you can look at your lighting and look at it, that could be a consideration. The other consideration, of course, and this is what makes it a mgtow topic, is sensory overload. It could be the women in your life. They're just too much for you. They're just, with their carry-on and what have you, if you're down, they try and put you down even more. I had a conversation with an English woman on the channel the other day, and I was just surprised. I haven't it was an awful conversation, very unpleasant experience. I entertained. I normally just wouldn't bother, but I wanted to see, now that I'm wearing sunglasses, blocked out, whether it would have any effect on me. It had none. And she tried everything she could to just bring me down. And it's funny in the end, because I said, look, I can't believe how happy I am. And she just said, oh, that's a lot, oh, I know you're speaking out your ass or something like that. Oh, gee, okay. Well, the truth is, I've never been happier, and it's just, and in the end, she's had to really try and bring me down, and she said, really, you should go and get help. You're obviously traumatised. I thought, I'm sitting here, I'd already told her this. I said, I've never been this happy. I explained what had happened, how I'd blocked out light. I said, no, she wouldn't listen. No, you're traumatised. It had absolutely no effect whatsoever. But if you had that in your ear the whole time, I'd say it's as bad as the sun. But I really think that's you need. Well, this is what I don't have much to do with women. The women that I do have, that I do talk to and do like, yeah, they never do stuff like that. They're always polite, always, they don't bring me down, we're supportive of one another. There's none of that sort of carry. But if they're like that, yeah, it's almost like going out in the sun and, yeah, hit me, baby. Because that's what it's like. It's overloading your senses. And look, it might not just be light, it can be audio. It could be too much music or too much sound. You might be in a noisy environment, or just, yeah, it could be noise that bothers you. But the whole point I'm trying to make here is we all look at the symptoms, what's happening, and we don't look at other causes or unusual causes. And to my mind, well, I don't know, a couple of 100 years ago, living on a farm or something, you had, wildlife sounds and, a few moos and things, and there wasn't a lot to overwhelm your senses. But these days, it's just more and more and more. And I could never understand it, because I thought there's just so much around these days. Why are we getting unhappier? Why am I getting unhappier and unhappier? And it's just so many things you can do that you couldn't do when I was a kid. And it's just all the programs and the different tools and whatever. Yeah, and I was just getting sadder and sadder and sadder. Well, the truth is, the more we get, the more we look at a screen, the more overwhelming. Yeah, that's what was happening. I was bringing myself down. But it's easily fixed, for me anyway. I just put on sunglasses. Problem was finding it. That's what took me all the time. I always knew there was a problem. I just didn't know what it was. Now, once I realised what it was, yeah, bang, yeah, sunglasses. $4 or $5 online. A couple of sheets and towels, that's it. No pills, nothing like that. It's it's just wonderful. It just feels great. And for anybody thinking, maybe I need antidepressants or something, just tell me. Have you ever met anybody that said, oh, hey man, these antidepressants are really, God, I can't believe how great I feel. I wake up every morning feeling great. Have you ever heard anybody say that about antidepressants? Or is it more an apology? Oh, I had this chemical imbalance, I had to have them. Yeah, now this, I can tell you, you feel wonderful. Absolutely on top of the world. And you aren't embarrassed to say so. Yeah, fine, it's a bit unusual wearing sunglasses inside, who cares? I don't know that you can wear them to work. I mean, it wouldn't be acceptable yet, but it will be in time if it proves to be right. In fact, what they're doing, they're starting to do research on it in Scandinavia, the effect of light on the mind. It's only just started now. It's just after all of these years. And just in closing that, I saw a guy in Thailand, a video of a guy in Thailand, an English guy. He's complaining about, how a mistake going to Thailand. And he wasn't, you think he was talking about customs and, the culture and all of that sort of thing. Nah, he wasn't talking about that at all. No, he's talking about the length of the days. And he was just saying how exhausting it was. And he was doing one of these sort of roving vlog, aren't they? And he was squinting
And I wrote to him and said, "You cannot be wearing sunglasses," and put up blockout curtains. He gave my comment a like, but he wouldn't have believed me. But that's what his problem would be. He's gone from a low luminance area to one of high. Oh, it's very, very bright here, and his mind can't handle it, and it's exhausting him. Yeah, but that's, I mean, it's probably, I've grown up here, but it could be a generational thing. Could take 4 or 5, 10 generations before we become used to this. I don't know. It's interesting though. I thought, it's certainly changed my life. God, I can't believe it. I only wish I'd learned about it a long time ago. But anyway, better late than never, I guess. Anyway, it's been great talking to you, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.